Shalom, giving all praise going on to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Ravakah HaKadosh, double honor to all the apostles, a great millstone who do real well. Place of blessings to the brothers on the highways and byways, giving all diligence, making call and election sure, and blessings to the very few sisters out there listening and learning, and also believing. I am thy fellow Kanakla, coming at you once again with another lesson, Lord's will, through the Spirit and power, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai's lessons edifying, also exhorting. And you see the brother here from Arrows of Indignation. The writing is on the wall for Babylon. Okay. We'll let a little bit of this video play. We'll get the scriptures. Because what's happening is, which I believe, is just my personal opinion. All right. That these things will resume. All right. As far as commerce between America and China, but it's being done right now to basically collapse the system. All right, because when you go into Revelation 18 chapter, it says that basically the merchants wept because basically they were not able to make money anymore. So this is probably happening just to collapse the system, and America and Russia will basically resume back to, everyday buying and selling, so to say, trading, or whatever the correct term is, once that new system is put up in its a digital system. All right, but the point being, as of right now, as it stands, this system is collapsing. And this is accelerating that process. All right.
The writing is on the wall. If we're not moving containers, there's no work, which means the companies aren't making money. And you have to make money to survive in this environment. It's just the way it is.
It's truly going to be a catastrophic year. More than half of the folks that I know are talking about closing their doors.
The bottom line is, Bill, we get about $400 billion in trade with China imports. Most of it comes here. People here I've spoken to, they want fair trade. The question is, how long is it going to take to get that before you start losing hours or shifts or even layoffs?
On the whiteboard, this is something you pointed out. Okay, it's something called blank shipping, right? All right, blank shipping. So I'm just going to draw a container ship. Blank sailing. I'm not going to put a sail on it because it's a big cargo ship. But you got a big cargo ship here, okay? Usually it's full of cargo on the top. Beginning of the year, these ships leaving Asia, 0% of them were skipping ports. They were going to every port. They were picking up what they had. Containers were full.
100%.
Okay, now 40%. These are the numbers you're pointing to, Dan. As many as 40% of these ships, guess what? Okay? Bypassing ports. So
inventory's down 40%.
And ships have to go when they have to go. You can't just sit around and wait. So they're going with just a few containers on them. These half-empty, who knows what. From 0% to 40%.
And just think about what it's going to look like over the next week, 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And that's why deals need to get done, because this is what business leaders from e-commerce, across every industry are basically saying, like, time's ticking, and guess what's going to happen? Shortages, massive price increases, and that's where, look, we just talked about, for the U.S. consumer hasn't seen it yet.
No.
It's come. Remember, it goes back to, it's like being on a beach, and all of a sudden, like, you're in the ocean, there's no water. You're like, oh, this is crazy.
I'm going to run out and check it out.
I'm going to run out. You're like, no, it's because the tsunami's coming. So the point is that the reality is that he needs to get deals done.
But because this is this question, Peter, that I'm trying to understand. With China, a deal doesn't just happen with a snap of a finger and a go. I mean, at least there would be nothing to indicate that that's how it's going to happen. But we're in a situation where if you look at the ships and you look at what's happening, right, that can be a blip, only if you have an immediate sudden change
The
afterwards.
logistics of, I'm working with a guy named Andrew Sofko who runs a company called Batch. We've talked about how AI is coming into the logistics space around trucking in the United States, and how complicated that is, and how important it is that every little check, the trucks have to be full, they have to be on time, all of that work. Think about it, when you're only going at 40% inventory, that's going to start, so the ship lines are going to be losing money. Everybody is going to start losing.
You don't
money
get
along
your
the way.
inventory, then I don't get mine. They don't get theirs.
Then if it opens up back up, those are all late.
And then you even talk about, you're talking about even like Christmas. Like the boys, but that's what we're dealing
And the
with.
retailers and small businesses, and we talk about the stuffed animal company, they're saying they put in their order for 80% of their sales, Christmas,
Right.
by the end of May.
Correct.
So that's normal.
That is the lead time for this thing. And that's the lead time that's going to start affecting when it starts affecting food and all kinds of other, look, you saw that with Target and Walmart. Actually, the CEOs of a lot of the retailers went to the White House apparently to talk and say, this is real for us.
And how do you price it? Because you don't know what you're pricing. And you've talked about that.
Huge uncertainty. Well, here we are, another weekend, and again, the market hoping, right? Because the market's saying,
Sunday night.
got to be a deal because the alternative is so horrific it can't contemplate.
So, which I said, I think it'll resume, once it collapses, but the point being, rather collapse or not, the supply chain has been disrupted. That's the point. So at some point in time, as she said, empty sailing, a lot of those ships came over here empty, right, without no goods on it. So regardless, whether they make a deal, and like she said, even if they make a deal, it's still gonna take time. All right, so it's a build up. So it's gonna be a big space, a big gap, where basically there's a shortage of goods. Right, and it's gonna be how long? What time period? How long of a time period it is? I don't know. But that gap, between that gap, all right, companies aren't going to be able to do business because they simply just don't have the product. So it's going to be a time period where it's going to get real tough, all right? Will that be the time where the Lord, do what he's going to do? Possibly, Lord willing. But as it says, tsunami is coming. All right, a tsunami is coming, and we know these elites, never let a good crisis go to waste. So let's get these Ecclesiastes 12. Remember now the Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. So basically seek the Lord early. All right. Now we know that's not going to be the case for everyone, but seek the Lord early, all right, when you have something to sacrifice. This is why the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, or the clouds return after the rain, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble. All right, economists, the keepers of the house shall tremble. And as they're looking at this situation, these tariffs, it's going to affect you. How long, we don't know, but the supply chain has been disrupted. So when will we see the effects? I don't know, but you're going to see them. And then, simple economics, supply and demand. All right. Not enough supply, but a high demand. What it's going to do when you do find those items, the prices are going to be high. Okay. That's just what's going to happen. If something was $10 at one point and it was coming in abundance, all right, that store owner will keep it at that price. But that same item that was $10 and he's only getting he only has a few of them. It's not in abundance. Once you grab one off the shelf, he don't got boxes of them in the back to just replenish it. No, he's going to go up on the price of that because he only has this much, a little of it. So he has to go up on the price. All right. Simply because the supply chain was disrupted. Okay. Which I believe it will resume because what? The prophecy. People are going to be buying and selling. Okay. But as of right now, they're doing this to collapse the system. It says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few. So if the business isn't making money because they don't have the product, what's going to happen? You're going to lose your job. And everything's all connected. All right. Your job might not be affected directly, but remember, it's a chain. Somewhere within that link, this was lost now. It's a domino effect. All right. It says, and those that look out the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of grinding is low. So business is closing up. Verse 4 in NLT says, remember him before the door of the life's opportunity is closed and the sound of work fades. Now you rise at the first chirping of the birds, but then all their sounds will grow faint. And, as we said, the quality of music, but also that mirth, all right? That mirth in a city also, too, can be equated to that. It's going to be brought low. People singing and jiving around and shit because everything's good. People happy when business is doing good. They making money. They able to provide and take care of their family, But that's gonna come to an end. And this can very well be the catalyst, which is you're going to see the effects of it. How far they're willing to take it, we don't know. We're hoping this year. All right? They stop playing and collapse the system. But the point being, what this leads to is, and we keep bringing this out because we're close. When you see the monetary system being destroyed, all right, America collapsing, which it's key to collapse America because they dominate the world. The global currency, U.S. dollar. So America has to collapse. This is because thou hast kept the word of my patience. I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. The temptation of taking that chip, which is the mark of the beast. Okay. This is the test that's getting ready to come. So that's why we watch these things and we see everybody's all worried. Oh, prices of things gonna go up. But we the elect, we know it. We're gonna be in the midst of it. But we're not sitting back wondering, oh, what is this world coming to? Why is Trump doing the thing that he's doing? All right. We know in order for the prophecy of the mark of the beast to take place, this monetary system has to go digital. CBDC, central bank digital currency. The paper money system has to be destroyed. Okay? Amos 3:7 says, surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealed his secret unto his servants, the prophets. So we're not sitting back wondering or in some form of uncertainty as to why this is happening, this, that, and the third. So call Allah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, for, doing the things he's doing. It's just prophecies moving fast. Downfall of Babylon the Great, a.k.a. America. Our temptation, all right, the destruction, the salvation, and the kingdom. So we sitting back watching. So with that, Lord's wounds that are fine, giving all praise to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.